Hi, my name is Kat Whitehill, and I'm here to get you ready for your college football Saturday. I have three main storylines to talk about, all of which are not great news for the college football world. The first starts with a starting quarterback from the University of Florida, where they finally regained their top 10 status after going 4 long years with just dismal performances. And Will Grier, the starting quarterback, got tested positive this week for PEDs, and he's suspended a full year. Now, this isn't terrible news for the University of Florida. Firstly, they have had some issues deciding who's going to be their starting quarterback. Last year's starting quarterback, Treon Harris, and has started a couple of games this year, will fill in for those shoes. But you're coming on a big game against LSU at LSU this weekend. It's another statement that the University of Florida could make in the college football world. And with all the news surrounding that team, it's going to be hard for them to really bounce back, especially being away. It's going to be interesting to see how this team can come along. It's going to be all about Coach Jim McElwain and the seniors and the leaders of that team to really gather that team and get them to come together and put on another spectacular performance like they have, especially in the past couple of weeks against Missouri and against Ole Miss. Now, the second storyline is a sad one for a lot of different teams in college football, mainly for the University of South Carolina. The head ball coach has decided to resign at the University of South Carolina in the middle of the season, and a lot of people at first thought he was retiring. But he has said that he is resigning his post. He felt as though his recruiting was starting to hinder the university. They've had some tough losses. They just can't seem to get the ball rolling, and so he decided to hand the reins off. While a lot of people think for someone like him to bail out on the team like that, it's poor form. But the way that I look at it is he knew when it was his time, and he wants to set the University of South Carolina up so they can be better next year and go back to being potential SEC East champions, something that they just can't seem to do consistently. And the head ball coach was getting them to that point, but after last year and their struggles and this year their struggles, it just seemed like it was his time to go. And the third and the final story is the saddest one to me. It's Coach Steve Sarkisian from the University of Southern California. At first, decided to take an indefinite leave of absence because of substance abuse, and then the next day he was actually fired because a lot of other things have been found out that we don't know yet, but the university knows, and it was time for him to go. And that can never be easy for a team, but especially for Coach Sarkisian, who is dealing with something that a lot of people deal with, something that is difficult to overcome. So we hope only for the best for him and his family, and we hope for the best for USC as they are dealing with very, very difficult times right now. So looking forward to the weekend, I want to give you 3 main players to watch for this weekend. One, I've talked about, Treon Harris, the quarterback for the University of Florida. How will he step up? He's had experience, but recently he's been put on the bench. Will he step up for this University of Florida team going into Baton Rouge, into Death Valley, one of the most difficult places to play? Can he bring Florida to the victory and keep Florida with their top 10 ranking? The defense is going to be critical as well for Florida because they're one of the tops in the country. My second one goes to another quarterback, Christian Hackenberg from Penn State. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the nation, but yet he's playing the #1 team in the nation. Well, Ohio State has not shown to be one of the top of recent. They've struggled at the very beginning of games. They tend to come out on top and have a bigger margin of victory by the end. Can Penn State and Christian Hackenberg go in to the Horseshoe and defeat the Buckeyes? That's going to be an interesting game. Even though Ohio State is heavily favored in this match, I do think that Penn State and Coach James Franklin, one of the great up-and-coming coaches, could really give a shock to the people of Ohio State. So keep your eye out for that game. And my third players to watch are 2 teams, the 2 USCs, Southern Cal, who's going to Notre Dame to play at Notre Dame, And South Carolina, who's fortunately at home against Vanderbilt, how do they respond? They have new coaches. They are dealing with a lot of news surrounding their program. That's all people will be talking about the whole time. How can these players come together and put at least a good performance on the field? And it would be even better if they win, but with all the news that's surrounding their teams, it's going to be a difficult task for these young football players. So that's you getting ready for this weekend. I hope you enjoy your Saturdays as much as I do. It starts at noon. It doesn't end until you go to sleep, which is hopefully at the end of every great football game that goes on. I love Saturdays, and I hope you enjoy them as well.